Alright, continuing on with the second half of the achievement videos for Ace's Bioshock 2 walkthrough. In the last video, we finished with Master Gatherer, so we're picking it up with an easy one. Nose for News, it's story-based, so you don't have to worry about that one. Look at You Hacker. Now this one I got my first playthrough without even knowing about it or trying for it, so I can only assume it's pretty easy. You have to kill 50 enemies using only hacked security. So like turrets, rocket turrets. You can hack cameras, which then sends out the security bots. If you're struggling to get this one, I don't have too many tips other than make it a point to set up gathers around security cameras and hacked security. I believe I do that fairly well in the video, but anytime you see a turret of some type, just be sure to hack it. Dealt with every little sister. To deal with a sister, that simply means you have to harvest or rescue her. The only way to not deal with them would be to ignore her and leave the level without harvesting or rescuing her. Without killing her big daddy. Just look at on the pause menu, you'll see the little sister icons. If you see any little sisters still with big daddies in those icons, that means you haven't dealt with them yet. So just before you leave your level, pause it and make sure you've got all your little sisters taken care of. Found Lamb's Hideout, that's story based, so don't worry about that. Max plasmid slots. I talk about this one in Inner Persephone video number 1. So I'm not going to go into detail here. Watch Inner Persephone video number 1 for my thoughts on the max plasmid slot achievement. Reunion, that one's story based. All plasmids, you have to find and or purchase all of the 11 plasmids. I discussed this one again in Inner Persephone video number 1, actually at the same spot that I talk about the max plasmid slots, so watch Inner Persephone number 1 for both of those. Research Master, you have to complete all research. I think there's 7 or 8 enemy types. A couple notes about Research Master. First, you get the camera in Pauper's Drop, and Thuggish Splicers is one of the enemy types that you have to research. Now, they are only in the game from Pauper's Drop and earlier, so after you leave Pauper's Drop, because you can't travel back in Bioshock 2, if you don't have your Thuggish Splicer research done by the time you leave Pauper's Drop, you cannot finish it, which means you cannot get Research Master. So before you leave Pauper's Drop, make sure you research all your Thuggish Splicers. There's more than enough, so it's not difficult, but you gotta make it a point to do it, or there's no going back. Another note on Brute Splicers. After Siren Alley, they start getting pretty scarce. They do make a comeback towards the end of the game, so it's not the same case as the Thuggish Splicers, but they do have a pretty good gene tonic if you fully research the Brute Splicers, so I really try to make it a point to finish your Brute Splicer research before you leave Siren Alley. And you might be a little hard pressed to do it, but I do manage to do it in the walkthrough, and I don't really mix things up, so I'm sure you can have no problem doing better than me in that department. And then the other thing with the Research Master is just be sure to always research your big sister fights, because there's a limited amount of them in the game. There's more than you need, but you don't want to be toeing the line, so just make sure you always research your big sister. With Big Daddies, it's a little different because they kind of respawn. You could essentially just farm Big Daddies for research, but that's not the case with the big sister. And if you're having problems, make sure you put on your Keen Observer tonics. There's 2 of those that you can stack up. That's what I do in the walkthrough. Rapture Historian. There's something like 129 audio diaries around there. You only need 100 for the achievement. I get every single one in the walkthrough, and they are labeled on screen, so if you're following along, that's one of the main bullet points of this walkthrough. Heading to the surface is kind of the ending story achievement, along with Escape. It's kind of like a 2-for-1. Big Brass Balls. Finish the game without using Vita Chambers. You can turn them off in the options menu. Or before you start, I believe you can turn them off as well, and that's what you want to do. I like playing with them off. Even if they were on, I wouldn't use them because I like the save and load strategy better. If I were to die, I'd rather just reload rather than, respawn at a Vita Chamber. That's how I've always played Bioshock. I think that's the better way to go about it. And so to me, Big Brass Balls is no different than heading to the surface or Escape. It's pretty easy. A no-brainer. 9 Irony. This is one of the secret achievements. I'll show you how to do this one in Ryan's Amusement video number 5. So check that one out for info on 9 Irony. Counterattack. This one actually pops for me in the videos at the end of Ryan's Amusement. But the perfect place to do this is actually in Siren Alley. One perfect place anyway. It's a scripted event where the splicer will throw a grenade at you every time. It's in Siren Alley video number 3. So it's kind of towards the end of video number 3 in Siren Alley. So check that out for Counterattack. Savior is another secret achievement. To get it, you have to rescue every little sister in the game, which means you can't leave any of them, you can't ignore any of them, and you can't harvest any of them. You have to save them all or rescue them all, whatever the term is in the game. And also, you cannot kill Grace, Stanley, or Gil. You have to spare all 3 of their lives in the story of the game. And I do follow that path in the walkthrough. That's how I play it in this particular walkthrough to get the Savior. All weapons upgrade. Again, another big point of the game. I show you where all the power to the people stations are. So if you're following along, you will get them all. Against all odds, again, one of the main points of the game is to play it on hard difficulty. So just follow along with the guide and you'll get that. No problem. Little Moth, Skin Job, Mother Goose, and Choose the Impossible are all multiplayers. Just a little side note, it took me about 29 hours playing mostly Civil War because, that's what everybody plays on the PC. You can't really get another type of match going besides the occasional Capture the Sister. But yeah, it took me about 29 hours to finish all the multiplayer stuff. So that's it for the Bioshock 2 achievements for the main game single player. Hope you enjoy the walkthrough, and I'll see you in future videos.